Good afternoon and welcome to Mount Smart Stadium Arena 2 in Auckland, New Zealand. It's the OFC Champions League final between Waitakere United and Auckland City. I'm Gordon Glenn Watson and alongside me is former All-White Fred de Jong. And Fred, we're in for a fantastic game this afternoon.
Yeah, it should be a cracker, shouldn't it? You know, the culmination of the season for both these sides. A massive prize at stake in the OFC Champions League title and the World Club Champs up for grabs. So hopefully this afternoon we can see a real good exhibition of football.
Exactly, and we can begin that journey by looking back on the road to the final, beginning firstly with Waitakere United. Waitakere started off with a difficult 2 games, but they went on an unrelenting winning streak, Fred.
Yeah, they made no race of the group stage, did they? Qualified easily for the semi-final and then were quite comfortable in putting away Amical. So they've taken a deserved place in this final.
For Auckland City, it was a pretty cruisy start, 3 victories from 3 games, but they start today perhaps as slight underdogs.
Yeah, I mean they were pretty fortunate in that AS Dragons dropped points late in the group stage, but once they did get to the semi-finals, that 6-1 victory over Bar was a real good pointer to them coming into this final. I think with some pretty good confidence. Although their league form against Waitakere will have that little question mark in the back of their minds.
Absolutely. Now on Friday we had the opportunity to speak with both the coaches. First, Paul Marshall of Waitakere United and Ramon Trebulic of Auckland City. Let's see what they had to say about today's game.
One of the goals that we set right at the very beginning of the season to get to the final and to win the final, and we haven't achieved that yet. We've certainly achieved all the other goals that we set at the beginning of the season, but this one is undone at the moment, but we've given ourselves the chance.
This is the game that we've been waiting for the whole season. That gives us the pedigree and the opportunity to go and compete at the Global Cup, which is the biggest stage in the world. Plus, there's a lot of more things, obviously, in terms of popularity, obviously, and the financial side of it that is very important, especially with today's world global crisis. So for us, winning the OFC Champions League would be fantastic.
They're a well-organised team. They're a good team. They're a fantastic club. They're well run. I think Ivan Vuksic has set something up at that club which is the envy of most of the country. Having been involved at that club for over 15 years myself, I know how well run it is.
Waitakere's probably worst thing for us is that they can play bad and win. They've got those players with Krishna, De Vries, Alan Pearce as well, that they can have a bad game and then all of a sudden they can, from broken play, they can score a goal or from a set piece. And this has probably been their worst nightmare all season. I mean, they've scored some goals against the runner play, I would say. With all respects to them, and this is an ability. This is what they have, and this is what we need to make sure we control.
If we play well, I believe we will do well. I've got great faith in this group of players, and they know that, and they've performed all season long, particularly when it's really counted, and they've needed to step up, and I'm expecting the same again on Sunday.
It's important for us that we have a lot of the ball. That gives us the power because obviously the opposition have to run after you. We have to defend well, and there'll be moments where we have to defend, and when we're defending, we need to make sure that there's 2 or 3 situations that don't happen against us. Again, there's no one key. It's just make sure that we play not a perfect game, but very close to perfection game to make sure we get away winners.
Fred, Paul Marshall in typically bullish frame of mind for today's game.
Yeah, and with good cause, I think. They've had the wood over Auckland City pretty much all season, racked up some pretty good wins against them, and so they come into this final, I think, as clear favourites on the back of those performances. So I think from the coach's perspective, he's got complete faith in this group of players, and he's showing that.
Ramon Trebulic remarked that Waitakere have this danger on the counter-attack through the likes of Krishna and De Vries and Pearce. It's going to be a tough one for Auckland to stop.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, I think that's been their Achilles heel this season. They've conceded more goals probably than they have normally, and especially against Waitakere, the pace of Krishna and De Vries has caused them problems. And so, I mean, from Trebulic's perspective, that's a key area for the game this afternoon. And on the other end of the field, he's going to have to look to Exposito to try and put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, let's take a look now at one of those players who could make a big difference. It's Waitakere United's Roy Krishna. The Fijian international has bagged 25 goals in all competitions this season. He's still pulling up trees as we head in towards this afternoon's game, and he is going to take some stopping, Fred.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the difference between the two sides thus far. You know, he's a consistent goal scorer. He's got tremendous pace, and he uses that to get in behind teams. And he's got that goal scorer's predatory instincts. You know, just put the ball in the net. Some people might say, you know, he gets in really good positions and misses a few opportunities, but he certainly gets in those positions more often than not. And you know, he's a class act, and probably one of the keys to Waitakere being successful this afternoon.
Auckland City have also got a player who could make a big difference this afternoon. It's the former Barcelona striker Manel Exposito, and he's a different kettle of fish, so to speak.
Yes, I mean, different type of player, doesn't have the explosive pace of Krishna, so has to get his goals in other ways, you know, but he's got a tremendous touch, really intelligent player, you know, and he puts himself through intelligent running into really good positions, and then he's got the class to finish. So two contrasting strikers, but two people who will really, you know, hold the key to whoever's going to win this afternoon.
Absolutely. Now, Manel Exposito sits fourth in the all-time top goal scorers list for Auckland City, behind Grant Young, Kieran Jordan and Paul Ulovich, and he scored this goal against AS Dragon in Tahiti. It was the goal that got Auckland through to the final, and I'm sure there will be a lot of high expectations from Navy Blue supporters of Exposito today. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. We're going to a commercial break. Stay with us. It's the OFC Champions League final from Mount Smart Stadium. Good afternoon and welcome to Mount Smart Stadium in Arena 2. It's the OFC Champions League final. We're just moments away from kickoff, and Waitakere United and Auckland City going for the Continental Club title of the Oceania region, and also a place at the FIFA Club World Cup in Morocco in December this year. It's been 6 chapters of Super City derbies that we've enjoyed throughout the course of this long season, but the phony war is over. All the posturing that took place at the press conference on Friday, where both coaches downplayed the importance of the previous meetings, that's all over. That's finished. It's now all about winning today. and grabbing the prize in front of them, $500,000 and a place at the FIFA Club World Cup in Morocco. Auckland are defending the trophy, and before them is the opportunity to seal a 3-in-a-row record. No club in the history of Oceania club football has managed to achieve it. For Waitakere United, well, they could make it a quadruple, a domestic treble and a continental club title for the first time since 2008. There are almost no second prizes, no consolation for losing today. It's that big. I'm Gordon Glenn Watson. I'll be describing the action for you this afternoon, and alongside me is former All-White Fred de Jong. Fred, this is huge.
Yeah, big day, isn't it, for football in Oceania, football in New Zealand as well. The two best teams in the country going head-to-head, massive prize at stake for the winner, and as you say, it really is a winner-take-all situation. Waitakere has been the dominant force in domestic football thus far this season, and going into this match they will be full of confidence, and I think it's up to Auckland City this afternoon to wrest that advantage from the team that will play in white.
Well, the last time that Auckland City managed to knock Waitakere United over was April 21st at Fred Taylor Park. They won by 3-1. Shortly after that, the two teams clashed again at Kiwatere Street, and it was a goal by Jake Butler. That was the difference between the two sides, Waitakere taking that game out. Let's take a look at the lineups for today's game. Starting with Waitakere, there are two significant changes to this lineup. That is the inclusion of Alan Pearce and Matt Kineen. Chris Palmer has dropped out of the lineup, while Tristan Prattley has also not made the cut due to injury. So Matt Kineen comes in at centre half. Tim Myers switches out to the left in a 4-3-3 formation. And the focal point there in attack will be Roy Krishna.
Yeah, strong side though, isn't it, for that Waitakere side?
For Auckland City, it's business as usual. It's the same lineup that played against Bar in the semi-finals at Govan Park. It's Tamati Williams in goal, Ivan Visolic skippering the side, Fenerides in the middle of the park, and Fred, what's the key to the game today for Auckland City?
Well, I think for Auckland City they have to defend well. You know, they cannot let Waitakere get on top. They cannot let themselves be dominated this afternoon. We see Peter O'Leary there, who will officiate this afternoon, alongside Jan Hendrik Hintz, Ravanish Kumar and Norbert Huata from Tahiti. But for Auckland City, you know, they have to get on top early, and I believe they have to score the first goal. I think they've shown thus far this season they're good when they're in front, not so good when they're having to chase the game.
No, that certainly was the case in the match at Kiwatere Street. There was just no way that the Auckland City side was able to break down the Waitakere United defence, and I do know, having spoken to Paul Marshall, that he felt that was something of a turning point for Waitakere United in this long story of Super City clashes this season in the ASB Premiership and OFC Champions League. Referee Peter O'Leary has plenty of FIFA experience. He was an official at the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa, and much will be expected of this top Kiwi official as he takes charge of what is tantamount to New Zealand's version of the Old Firm Derby.
Yeah, it's good to have someone of Peter O'Leary's calibre in the middle. You know, these traditionally these have been very, very fiery encounters. The last time these two teams met in the final of the ASB Premiership, you know, there was a lot of yellow cards and a red card, and so there's a lot at stake. So expect plenty of fireworks, and Peter O'Leary will have to be right on his game to keep the game under control.
Well, there's no shortage of emotion either on the part of Auckland City. Manel Exposito had a awful phone call the other night. His grandmother passed away, and as a mark of respect, Auckland City are wearing black armbands. Of course, difficult to tell in the all-navy blue kit as we get underway at Mount Smart Stadium, Arena 2. And a nice sized crowd building up here at the smaller of the two venues at the Mount Smart Stadium complex. Matt Caneen heading the ball clear for Waitakere United. Auckland City working the touch line already. James Pritchett looking for an option. He chooses Daniel Koprasic. Well, Koprasic, who played for Waitakere United when they last won the title back in 2007 and 2008. He was part of those Waitakere United sides, one of those coached by Steve Kane, and then made his, what many would consider to be his spiritual move home to Auckland City. And he is playing in place of Gustavo Suto, who is out with a broken collarbone. Fred, so many of these players tend to play for one or the other club at some point in their career, and perhaps taking a bit of the edge off things, or do you think that's a false assumption to make? Oh, and there's an early opportunity for Dickinson for Exposito. Robinson has it.
Yeah, nice turn by Adam Dickinson there, just trying to slip the ball and turn the Waitakere defence. But as you say, there's been a lot of movement across town, both back and forward between these two sides. But I don't think that's really taken the edge off what has been a white-hot competition between them. And I think that reaches into the administration side of the clubs as well. There is a real rivalry and no love lost really between the two clubs.
Aaron Scott has a throw in a handy position. It's a heavy touch by Alan Pearce. Restored to the lineup after suspension. He certainly knows a thing or two about scoring goals. He is Waitakere United's all-time leading goal scorer, Alan Pearce. He's had a low-key season by his own high standards in that regard, but he has scored in Champions League finals and ASP Premiership Grand Finals before. Ivan Visilic clipping a long ball forward. Tim Myers should take care of this. He's hooked it back into midfield, picked up by Riera. Matthews into the back. That's a free kick.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Auckland City can get the ball down on the deck as they've been wont to do. Again, we see the just a push in the back by Matthews, clear free kick. But for Auckland City, it's important for them, I believe, that they get the ball, they keep possession, and they play the game quite high up the pitch in Waitakere's half of the field. They have got the ability, they have got the skill in their team to really control possession. I think that's important for them. Whereas when you look at this Waitakere side, they'll be more looking for the counter-attack, the pace of Pearce, of Krishna, and of De Vries. That's really where their threats come from.
Well played by Roy Krishna, locking the ball into Alan Pearce, who's hoisted it forward, headed clear by Visilic. Myers with a challenge on Koprasic. It results in a free kick for Auckland City. Fred, you were down on the park before this game got underway. What are the pitch conditions like?
Well, we've just had a shower, quite a heavy shower actually, come across the field just before kickoff as both teams were warming up, which has made the pitch surface very greasy. The pitch is fine. The pitch is fine. It's flat. It's not the world's best field, but it's certainly not the worst. And so I don't think the players can have too many complaints about the quality of the surface. And it'll be up to them just to make sure that they get the ball down, knock the ball around.
It's back with Aaron Scott. His attempted pass is cut out. Fenarides hunting for the bits and pieces. And Adam Dickinson pulled up for a foul on Aaron Scott. Well, Adam Dickinson's had one of his most prolific seasons in Navy Blue. He has 7 goals for the OFC Champions League. He managed to score 6 in the ASP Premiership.
So Adam Dickinson there, just muscling his way. But Peter O'Leary deciding to pull him up for the foul. Really is a physical player, Dickinson. And
here is, I think that's Ryan De Vries cutting back onto the right foot. Now Coombs. First time ball played in For Butler, meanwhile, there is a foul and a free kick given Waitakere's way. This is in a very, very handy position, and Chad Coombs or Jake Butler might fancy this.
Yeah, Ryan De Vries just cutting in from that left-hand flank. And I think it was Chris Bale just going in very hard. And Peter O'Leary, no hesitation in giving the free kick. As you say, Gordon, this is in a very handy position. Greasy surface, so difficult for the keeper, especially if it bounces in front of him.
Well, Chad Coombs is a player who made the switch from Auckland to Waitakere. Well over 100 appearances for the Navy Blues, and here he stands over the ball. What can he do with a free kick? Well, straight into the wall. He gets a second go at it. Goal kick. Well, Coombs is a wholehearted player and somewhat underrated in the technical stakes, I think, from time to time. But he certainly didn't strengthen the argument with that free kick that struck the wall.
He scored a couple of cracking goals. As Tamati Williams gets in all sorts of trouble. And Ivan Visilic was expecting him just to put his foot through this one. Decided to take a touch, and there's the pace of Roy Krishna. And just, you know, as quick as you like, he's on top of you. So I think that will be a pointer for Tamati Williams, not to muck around at the back too much this afternoon.
No, there was certainly a bobble there as well. I do know that the penalty areas, Fred, are quite choppy as we see Koprasic wind in across. It's a corner for Auckland City. An opportunity for Alex Fenarides to knock a ball in and for Auckland to take advantage. All the big players coming forward, of course, as you'd expect. Visilic, Mario Beelan, both 6'1". Chris Bale's in there, and Dickinson at the far post. It's taken short. Koprasic, Fenarides, opportunity for Beelan, he couldn't get a hold of it. Now Bale, good save by Danny Robinson. Excellent save by the Waitakere goalkeeper. Thunderous shot from Chris Bale as well.
Yeah, good corner this one. Played short, eventually the chance came to Bale, ripped off a great shot, and Danny Robinson had a good look at it. But it was a good save nonetheless.
Still with Auckland City, it's Bale. He's going to need a hand here. Koprasic shows. That's good defending from Chad Coombs. Energetic stuff from him. Now Riera. Oh, and a bit of a communication problem between Riera and Visilic momentarily. Now Williams can assess his options. Launch forward to Iwata. Good first touch by him. Second ball wasn't so good. Fenarides wins the second phase, away by Brian Shelley. Shelley's a centre-half who's had an impressive season for Waitakere. He's come in and replaced player Jason Rowley, who was a stalwart under former coach Neil Emblin. And Beelan's ball intended for Iwata eludes both his teammate and Alan Pearce. Flicked on by Pearce. Krishna picks it up. Beelan there for company. Now Coombs is pushed further forward. Linking play, it's Pearce. Now Krishna. Fenarides hunting for possession. Riera, not a bad ball. Koprasic. Fenarides. Thrown to Auckland. Tidy piece of play from the Navy Blues. Well, Takuya Iwata is a player who's only just come back into Ramon Trebulich's plans. He lost his place in the starting lineup to former Rangers defender Andrew Milne. Milne, who played under Ali McCoist at Rangers during a 2-year stint. But Iwata's back in favour now. Chris Bale. That's a wonderful pass by Chris Bale. Fortunately, his son might have caught it there for Pritchett. Now, Waitakere building up through Shelley. Iwata. Still Iwata. Now Koprasic. Nice turn by him. Wins another free kick. So, Fred, perhaps a pattern starting to form?
Yeah, I think so. Now you're just seeing Auckland City start to knock the ball around with a bit more confidence as they've sort of got the pace of the game after about 10 minutes or so. Waitakere seemingly quite happy just to concede them possession up until about the halfway line, and that's when the Waitakere players are starting to put the pressure on. But just at the moment, Auckland City, I think they'll be happy with the way the game is developing thus far.
Well, Fenarides is also capable of hitting these. I've seen him score goals in the OFC Champions League from a similar distance, but perhaps there's something else to come. A wayward free kick is what we're greeted with.
Commentators curse when you talk him up. Here is a foul from behind, and the sliding tackle from Sam Matthews coming from behind. But the free kick, no trouble to Danny Robinson.
Launched forward, Exposito intelligently lets that go. It's been a tough week personally for him. His grandmother Montserrat, who passed away 24 hours ago. It was a hammer blow for Exposito. But everyone in football, I'm sure, will be wishing him all the best, and his family, of course. So Tim Myers with the throw. Coombs. Well played by Coombs to Matthews. Brian Shelley, who likes to punch forward with the ball when he gets the opportunity. This time hoisting it long. Beelan takes it on the chest. Krishna. Oh, and that's a slide of foot by Roy Krishna that had Auckland in a spot of bother. He's such a dangerous player, Roy Krishna. He's shown us time and again with Waitakere United just what he's capable of in terms of his pace over the first few yards, his finishing ability.
Yeah, the first real sign we've seen of the danger of Roy Krishna this afternoon, confronted by two defenders, and as he wants to do, he just takes them on, flicks the ball between them, and uses that lightning pace of his to try and burst into the penalty area. It really is a handful. And I think throughout the afternoon you'll see the Auckland City team just have two defenders on Roy Krishna.
Adam Dickinson unable to fashion a cross. It's a goal kick for Waitakere United. Yes, Roy Krishna managed 2 hat-tricks in the ASB Premiership against Hawke's Bay United in the semi-finals, as well as a treble in the regular season. He did struggle to find the target in the first part of that campaign, but he's come good. Certainly knockout football seems to be an area of comfort for him. Here he is again, trying to play in Coombs. I think it's gone straight to Exposito. Fenarides can't quite get the ball out of his feet. Picked up by Butler. He's got a free kick. Jake Butler not entirely happy with Peter O'Leary's decision there.
Yeah, somewhat fortuitous this one, I think, for Alex Fenarides in Auckland City. Crowded out by a couple of defenders. But it's that transition through that midfield area that I think is key for Auckland City. They look a great side going forward if the ball passes quickly through that area of the field and gets up to Manuel Esposito and Koprovic. When it dies in there, that really does give Waitakere a chance.
Riera goes to the far post for Exposito, tries to play it down for Dickinson, still going Dickinson, and the shot doesn't trouble Danny Robinson, high and wide.
He did well to get the ball down this time, Adam Dickinson. It was a difficult ball bouncing in the penalty area. Paul Marshall trying to rally his troops in there. Nice touch from Esposito. Just a good turn and a little dink there over the first defender. And on the half volley, can't keep his shot down. Again, good combination. And I think, and also good work from Riera in setting up, Albert Riera, and setting up that move. Really is a good player, Riera. I think the more that Auckland City can get him the ball, the more they'll look they'll look to pass the ball around and look to play around this Waitakere team.
Of all the Auckland City players who could consider imports, there is a school of thought that Riera is somewhat underrated, and it's interesting you point him out, Fred, as being the preferred focal point for Auckland City as they go forward.
Well, I think Waitakere recognise that as well. And what you'll see is a lot of Chad Coombs just dropping in to block Riera from picking the ball up.
Fenarides for Auckland. Taku Iwata goes to the near post. Oh, it's not a bad one. Robinson with the save, a chance. It's a goal for Auckland City. Adam Dickinson has put the Navy Blues in front with his 8th goal of the campaign. Scenes of sheer delirium at Mount Smart Stadium. First blood to Ramon Trebulich's outfit. And it's the man from Liverpool who scores the goal that puts Auckland 1 goal up.
Well, this one ended up sitting on a plate for Dickinson, didn't it? Great work from Iwata down the left. He chipped the ball in. Good save from Danny Robinson in the first instance, but all he could do was parry it onto the 6-yard box. And there was Dickinson, and that's just a gift in anyone's language. He wasn't going to pass up that opportunity. Auckland City go one ahead, and now it'll be interesting to see, can Waitakere lift? They haven't started the game really well. Auckland City have been the better team for the first 15-16 minutes, and now it's incumbent on the team in white really to lift their game.
Well, they have got previous in this department, Waitakere United. They won their 4th consecutive ASB Premiership, coming back from a goal down against Auckland at Fred Taylor Park. So this won't be unfamiliar to them in a sense, and they won't be lacking any self-belief. Let's be clear on that. That ASB Premiership Grand Final, of course, produced 7 goals. So hang on to your hats, folks, because this could be ready to explode. The Super City Derby rivalry, game number 41 between these two clubs, dating back to 2004. Talon Pierce. Scott goes long. This is Beelan. Takes a step forward to get in front of Krishna. Tell you what, Fred, that cross by Iwata looked as though it took a little deflection off Matt Caneen on the way through, which didn't help Danny Robinson's cause.
Well, that's where I think it was a good save. You know, I mean, if you're being critical of Robinson, you'll say he should have parried it away from the danger area. But I think exactly that. Gordon, the ball took a deflection, took a touch off either the defender or the attacker there, and that really made it difficult for Robinson. He had to change direction, and just he did well to get a hand on it.
By Shelley. Auckland City pressing as high as they can to force Shelley into that long ball. What are Waitakere going to do? How are they going to respond, the New Zealand champions? Paul Marshall told us at the press conference he's got great faith in this Waitakere United outfit. Riera under pressure from Butler. It's a free kick to Auckland. Well, Paul Marshall's faith is well placed. He's turned this Waitakere United side into something of a machine. They've won all of their away games in the OFC Champions League this season. That's unprecedented in this club's history. Fenarides from distance, the shot. Oh, it's a goal! Are Auckland City already on their way? Fenarides with a long-range shot. Danny Robinson could do nothing. Auckland City 2, Waitakere United 0. Look at that from Danny Robinson.
Yeah, this time, if the first one he did well, I think he could do a lot better on the second one. Danny Robinson, a good strike from Fenarides, but the keeper should put that round the post, and I think he knows it, Danny Robinson. It was great build-up play, again down the left-hand side. Again, it was Esposito and Dickinson that played the ball around, down the left, through the centre and through the channel into Fenarides. And he ripped off a great shot. But Danny Robinson, when he looks back at that one, will think he could have done a bit better.
Whoa, and that's a wild swing by Beelan to Jake Butler's raking pass. Who would have picked this? Auckland City lead Waitakere United 2-0 in the OFC Champions League final. The 7th time these two clubs have met this season.
And I got to say, it's not undeserved, I don't think. You know, Auckland City have been the better of the two teams thus far in the first 20 minutes. They've played the ball, they've held the ball better. And we haven't seen enough of this man, Roy Krishna. And if he's reduced to shooting from those sort of distances, then Auckland City will be very, very happy.
So confirmation of the score and the scorers. Adam Dickinson, 16 minutes. Fenarides in the 20th minute. Waitakere 0, Auckland City 2. Remarkable stuff. Waitakere have won 4 of the 6 matches between these two sides this season, including 2 cup finals, the ASB Premiership Grand Final and the Charity Cup. There was a 1-1 draw at Fred Taylor Park in the regular season of the ASB Premiership, and a 3-2 win for Waitakere at Kiwitea Street. I said before that trailing by a goal to nil was not familiar for them. Oh, sorry, was familiar for them, but trailing by 2.
It's a much bigger hurdle, isn't it?
It's a much bigger hurdle within the context of a Super City derby.
And you got to think they've got to get themselves back into the game, got to score before half time.
Mario Beelan. Of course, plenty of time for Waitakere United to fashion a response. And judging by the previous encounters, you know, I talk about a 3-2 win at Kiwitea Street and a 4-3 win for Waitakere at Fred Taylor Park. They've certainly got resilience, and it's been called upon here. Exposito. Oh, and Exposito lost his footing. He's regained it. Still going, Exposito. Nibbling away at his feet is Pearce, and the two players tangle. Throw goes Waitakere's way. Waitakere showed their capacity for launching unlikely comebacks in the ASB Premiership semi-finals. They beat Hawke's Bay United 6-4 in just a crazy match, but they were trailing it as Hawke's Bay gave it everything to try and haul back a deficit. Of course, Waitakere don't have the luxury of 2 games to do it in, because this is a one-off final. Previous editions of the OFC Champions League have been played over 2 legs. Myers. Krishna running onto that ball. Pushed away by Visilic. Certainly it was an interesting topic of conversation at the press conference about the future of Ivan Visilic as we have a look at the Fenarides goal now. It looked as though it took another deflection on its way through. May well have.
Yeah, but still I think Danny Robinson's, he's got his hand near enough to the ball to be able to deflect that one round the post. I mean, it was a good strike. Take nothing away from Alex Fenarides. And it was a well-worked opportunity, again, by Auckland City, who just seem a lot more composed than Waitakere this afternoon. Waitakere just guilty of giving away possession too cheaply, and also their build-up play isn't really helping their strikers. They're just too happy to get the ball near the centre circle and then pump it forward, which doesn't really give Krishna, Pierce and De Vries much of an opportunity to do anything with it.
Well, Waitakere have only lost 2 games this season in all competitions. A remarkable record for them. As we see Koprasic fouled.
Yeah, he's just got in early, hasn't he? And anticipating the challenge. Nothing in that from Coombs. And rightly the referee lets play go on.
Well, Koprasic has had problem with a knee injury this season, picked up in ASB Premiership action just after the FIFA Club World Cup. Well, Pritchett struggling with some of these long diagonal balls out from Tamati Williams due to the sun. The quality and trajectory of those deliveries is spot on. It's just very difficult for players on that side of the park, and I include Tim Myers in that, to lock onto it. Here is James Pritchett. Williams. Now Bale looking for that run from Pritchett. Riera. Now Belin. Mario Belin, a former Croatia age group internationalist from under 17s through to under 20 level. It was an excellent pickup for Auckland in the January transfer window after Angel Belanga departed for India. That's a good ball. Just had too much pace on it for Pritchett to catch up with.
Well, it's going to be difficult to get those balls to stick, isn't it, on this pitch? Being pretty slippery on top. But nice work from Auckland City. Just patience. Patience at the back. They know they've done the hard work, getting 2 goals up. Now they just need to keep possession, and you'll see it here again. They'll just use the keeper as an outlet.
Well, we spoke before the match kicked off, Fred, that Auckland City had conceded more goals than in previous seasons. Now, having looked back through those records in the Premiership, the ASB Premiership, they only managed 1 clean sheet, and that was against Young Heart Manawatu. So to go through today's Super City derby with their goals intact, that's going to be a pertinent question. Particularly against a side, a free scoring side like Waitakere. Venerides with the header, Riera off the chest, picked up by the danger man Krishna. Plays in Butler, overlapping run from Aaron Scott. Iwata's not made a good job of the first tackle, and he's copped one in the face.
You can see Iwata here, will come sliding in. He's looking to just flick the ball down the line, but just on the follow through, just collects like a hip or a knee to his face, so play stops. I think it'll be fine to carry on.
Iwata's key strengths are as an attacking player. He came from Australian football into Auckland City's winter side, Central United, where he started at left back, and that's where he's more or less stuck.
Well, we've seen that already this afternoon, haven't we, his attacking ability. Loves to get down the line, especially as the ball's getting played across the back. You'll see him pushed up right on halfway or even beyond the halfway line as Auckland City try and pass the ball out quickly through the back channels. As we've seen twice already, he's got in good forward positions and assisted in the 2 goals that Auckland City have scored thus far.
So we're coming up to the half-hour mark. It's Auckland City 2, Waitakere United 0. Goals for Alex Venerides and Adam Dickinson. Of course, to return to Iwata just for the moment, one advantage he has is his ability to get forward and put these crosses into the box, but perhaps a question mark over his defensive capabilities. And that's where the tussle for a spot with Andrew Milne has been born from. And we're back with De Vries. He's a danger man that Waitakere will need. Tried to lob a ball through for Krishna. It just ran into a sea of navy blue there. De Vries, such an exciting player. He's got a nose for goal. He can disappear out of games, Ryan De Vries. But he's got a lot of pace and an eye for goal. And goodness knows Waitakere United needs something from him at the moment. They're trailing 2-0.
Well, this is just a dumb foul from Myers. Just comes charging into the back of Koprosic. And rightly so, there's a yellow card. The player's completely defensive, looking to get the ball from the throw-in, and just gets poleaxed from behind.
Well, perhaps a sign of frustration, Fred, that Waitakere United just feel that this first half has slipped away thus far.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think there is a level of frustration. So he comes in, that's always going to be a foul. so you're just handing Auckland City a free kick. Not in a very dangerous position, but again, time ticks away.
Free kick taken. Knocked into Dickinson, who in turn has given away a foul. Caution for Tim Myers. Well, what do you think Waitakere United will do to change this pattern of play, Fred?
Well, at the moment, they just need to get their hands on the ball, really. They're starved of possession, and especially starved of possession in good areas. I mean, how often have we seen them up in and around the Auckland City penalty area with ball at feet? Hardly any. Whereas on the other side of the ledger, Auckland City have picked up some good positions.
Oh, and that's a long-range shot that spat up at Tamati Williams. It was De Vries, I think, who let that one go.
Yeah, this time, good snapshot against Tamati Williams, but again, those are sort of those moments. They're not really creating pressure at all, Waitakere. What they have done there, they have pushed further up the forward, trying to put the pressure on. And they're forcing Auckland City to try and play longer like this, rather than through Riera in the middle of the park. But it's when they have the ball that they're not doing enough with it at the moment. And that's what they have to change if they want to get themselves back in this game.
Dickinson wins the ball back for Auckland. Riera tidying up as ever. Chris Bale himself, a former Waitakere United player, has given it straight to Ryan De Vries. And
again, this time the shot from De Vries, stinging the palms of Tamati Williams, but he's got his whole body behind that, so no real danger.
well, Tim Myers has suffered from his versatility this season. He's centre half by trade, and with Tristan Prattley, a natural left-sided defender, it's always been Myers who's had to pick up those duties if Prattley's not been selected or has been injured. That's the case today as Matt Canine comes into the Waitakere lineup. Here is Myers, now Sam Matthews. This season it's been a renaissance for him, included in Paul Marshall's side after a number of seasons away from the ASB Premiership. Certainly one of the players in New Zealand that Paul Marshall has high regard for. Very hard-working player, Matthews. Here he is on the ball now, given straight to Exposito. Koprasic. Well, Pritchett was making that run down that right-hand side. He's certainly been working up and down there, but not getting too much opportunity to do something with the ball. Beelan. Bale.
But also by doing that, with James Pritchett pushing so far forward, it's pinning Ryan de Vries back. It's his job to mark Pritchett. And so what you'll see is Ryan de Vries having to drop back and do his defensive duties. And obviously then he's got to make a 40, 50 yard run if he wants to get into a dangerous position. So that will take its toll the longer the game goes on.
Dickinson. Takuya Iwata, former J League 2 player. Iwata. Butler. Beelan very tight on Roy Krishna. Koprasic. Auckland, well, nice work on the ball by Fenarides. But it's been all Auckland City, hasn't it, Fred? They've just starved Waitakere United of the ball, as you pointed out.
And it's this sort of play that we're seeing now. This has been like 10, 12 passes already. One side of the field to the other, through the outlet, Riera, Koprovic, and then eventually when they go forward, they try and just pinpoint someone for a ball over the top. But it's making it very, very difficult for Waitakere to maintain any sort of possession and create any sort of threat, as Peter O'Leary has a chat to Roy Krishna about the foul in the middle of the park. But again, the work of the two midfielders, especially Riera and Fenarides in the middle of the park, really doing well for Auckland City thus far this afternoon. And Waitakere, they really need to get this man, Sam Matthews, just get him more in the game, on the ball.
Well, as a means toward that end, Coach Paul Marshall has made a change here, Fred. You'll see Alan Pearce has been dispatched to the left-hand side, and De Vries looks as though he's playing a lot closer to Roy Krishna now. And Chad Coombs has been pushed out to the right. So it's at the moment looking like a 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1 perhaps. We'll see. Iwata rides one challenge from Coombs, goes past Matthews. Oh, and Dickinson, I don't think intended for that to happen, but Waitakere have it now. Butler, bit more of a buzz about Waitakere now with the reconfiguration. But they're going to require some penetration sooner or later.
Well, it's a change that gets De Vries into a more attacking role, doesn't it? We've seen him stuck out on the left-hand side thus far. Hasn't really got into those attacking areas. And now I think we should see that change.
Pearce clips one in. Oh, and the flag stayed down. Chance for Waitakere. It's in. The New Zealand champions are back in it. The change has worked. A moment of coaching innovation executed perfectly by Waitakere.
Well, all the questions will be whether this is offside. Roy Krishna getting in behind the defence and then just cleverly dinks the ball sideways. And Waitakere get themselves back in the game. A well-worked move from them. And straight away, as you say, Gordon, the change pays dividends.
Well, now we're going to see a bounce in the step of these Waitakere players. Remarkable moment they all but walked the ball into the net.
Yeah, I thought that was very well done from Krishna. You know, he killed the ball dead right in front of Tamati Williams, and then I think most players would try and score themselves with the keeper right in front of them, but Roy Krishna just cleverly knocking the ball to the side for his teammate, just tap home for 1-0.
Here is Brian Shelley. Spoke earlier about how he likes to go on these forays forward into the thirds, but the quality of the pass was not good enough. And we've got an answer to the question about whether or not Auckland City could maintain a clean sheet.
Well, you'd be a brave man to bet on them keeping a clean sheet against Waitakere this season, wouldn't you?
Certainly, that's certainly been the case over the 7 matches that we've witnessed. Ria gives one to Roy Krishna. It's got Paul Marshall off the bench and bellowing words to Peter O'Leary. Well, what a time to score a goal. Within 5 minutes of half-time. And if they could get a second, it would set things up nicely for the second half as Coombs swings this free kick in. Well, I'm sure Danny Robinson will be feeling an element of relief as Williams' distribution lets him down. Coombs going on a run of his own. Tries a long-range shot, ambitious in the extreme, but there is a free kick being awarded and a yellow card coming out for Fenarides. This match starting to just turn.
Well, that all came from the clearance from Tamati Williams. Just straight away, Auckland City moving away from what served them so well for the first 40 minutes of this game. And that has been the way they've controlled the ball at the back and just played their way out of danger. So Tamati Williams just hoisting that one forward straight into the path of Chad Coombs. And from that point on, Auckland City was scrambling in defence.
Well, from this free kick, just watch for the nod down for Roy Krishna, who peels away. Oh, and there is the ball intended for the Fijian hitman. He wasn't there though. And it looks like a serious injury to an Auckland City player. That could be Ivan Visilic.
He hasn't moved, is he? He's very still, Ivan Visilic.
Oh, it's a
He
head
goes
clash.
up, and there's a clash of heads there. And Ivan Visilic has stayed down. And it's not looking good for the New Zealand international. Two players fully committed to the challenge. And they're working hard on Ivan Visilic right in the Auckland City penalty area.
Well, they can ill afford to lose.
We'll see it
Visilic.
again. Ivan Visilic. You can see he went up there. And he sort of half turned when he got hit on the side of the head. He just collapsed in a heap on the 6-yard line. And here we see the goal again. And Roy Krishna just looked like he'd stayed just onside as the ball comes across. Yeah, clearly onside from that replay. And great work here, nice touch, and then just lays it across for Chad Coombs. Well worked, beautiful goal, and perfect timing for Waitakere City.
Ivan Visilic is still not back on his feet. This looks serious. So 2 minutes minimum of additional time to be added.
I think this might add a few minute or so on top of that 2 minutes. Auckland City certainly will be hoping that their captain and most experienced player, Ivan Visilic, will be in a sufficient state to carry on. Down to 10 men just for the moment, Auckland City.
Esposito flicks it on for Dickinson. Matthews nibbling away at the feet of his opponent there. Esposito was offside. So we are now in additional time in the first half. Waitakere United 1, Auckland City 2. Myers, long ball forward for Chad Coombs. Comfortably taken by Tamati Williams. He's made the Auckland goalkeeping role his own. Tamati Williams fighting off competition from Jacob Spoonley. Quite a fortunate position for a club to be in with two top quality goalkeepers. Esposito, Fenarides. Did well there. Riera now. Goes in full-blooded. Oh, and there's a problem here. Yellow card for Albert Riera. That was right in front of Paul Marshall.
Yeah, Riera not holding back on this challenge, sliding in. And that's a yellow card in anyone's language. Studs up. Can have no complaints about that.
Well, that is half-time here at Mount Smart Stadium at Arena 2. It's been a fascinating first half. Waitakere United 1, Auckland City 2. Goals for Adam Dickinson on 16 minutes. Alex Fenarides 4 minutes later for Auckland. And then Chad Coombs against his old club made it 2-1. And plenty for coaches and players of both sides to think about, Fred.
Yeah, I mean, Auckland City started the game very, very well, didn't they? They dominated possession, dominated position in the field as well. And but Waitakere haven't given up, and they've just managed to get themselves back in the game, and they won't be feeling too uncomfortable now when they look forward to the second half.
Let's now take a look back at some of the highlights of the first half. 8 minutes in, it was first shot from Chris Bale of Auckland City to get things underway. Good save by Danny Robinson.
Yeah, from the corner, Danny Robinson got a good view on that one. And then in the 16th minute, first goal, ball played in by Iwawa, deflection, Danny Robinson does well, and then the ball just sits up on a plate for Adam Dickinson, and he just drills that one between the two defenders. Lovely cross in though by Iwata.
Joy for Adam Dickinson, and Auckland City were looking good at this point. And the bench absolutely delighted. 4 minutes later, Auckland doubled their lead, and it was Alex Fenarides.
Yeah, good work down the left again, this time from Esposito. Alex Fenarides just deciding to tee one up, and Danny Robinson just a bit late getting down to his left-hand side. Tried to flick that one round the post, could only flick it into the top corner. And frustration from the Waitakere keeper. But joy for the Auckland City players.
Well, Waitakere United sat back and had to pull something out of the hat. They did with this long-range shot from Roy Krishna.
Yeah, Krishna ripping this one at Tamati Williams. Ball just sitting there for him, and he decided why not have a go. But that, unfortunately for him, straight at the keeper.
Waitakere got level after Paul Marshall made a coaching change, a tactical change. And this looked offside, but certainly wasn't in the replay.
No, Roy Krishna ghosting in round the back. Well-timed run. And then just lays the ball in the path of Chad Coombs for the simplest goal that he will ever score.
Join us in a couple of minutes' time. We're going to take a commercial break and then we'll bring you the rest of the OFC Champions League final between Waitakere United and Auckland City. Welcome back, everybody. It's half-time in the OFC Champions League final between Waitakere United and Auckland City. Auckland lead by 2-1, but we can now take a look at some of the activities in the Pacific that are rolled out by the Oceania Football Confederation in terms of its social responsibility programs. Let's go to Vanuatu and take a look at Just Play.
I'm very happy about the turnout and the feedback we're getting from displaying what Just Play and the disabled children who are part of Just Play can and are getting from the program, and just the expressions on their faces when they see how the crowd reacts to what they can do.
Mi quando format harus first time demi blog amat lo face blog man mo miklat lo saya mat mi saya mual sem bol sambelaman we lek lo liu tan lo liu sem mi everyone sem makno.
I really enjoy Just Play because it provides us opportunity to socialize with the others and have the opportunity to get exposed with the others, have fun. It helps me physically and it provides me a job.
Well, Daphne is a special girl. She's been doing evaluations through the schools, and she turns up to the school, and you have this bright girl with cerebral palsy, running the sessions, evaluating, coaching the children, and this is totally something new that our children, one or two able children, have not seen.
Well, an amazing, heartwarming story. It's all too easy to think that football's about trophies and qualifying for major tournaments and events. It's certainly a significant part, but as you can see, Oceania Football Confederation is hugely active in the Pacific region and uses football as a tool for social responsibility and social inclusion. As we have a look at the Curva coaching course, look at the footwork on these kids, Fred. And of course, Curva's a Dutch coaching plan, is it not?
Certainly is. Came out of Wim Curva, who initiated this type of training, individual skill-based training, that very much came out of the Dutch system.
Let's take a look at the top 5 goals of this season's OFC Champions League.
Issa turns and drive, and Sunny Issa in the 34th minute of play. Look at it again, Abu Zaid, Sunny Issa turns.
Sunny Issa is the Golden Boot winner, and look at that goal. Tremendous strike by him, the Nigerian. Alex Fenarides, number 4 for Auckland City. That was a last week's win over Bar at Govan Park.
I think that's the one you were talking about. It was indeed, wasn't it, Gordon? Rather than the shot we saw, he was hoping to pull one out like that.
Chris Bale replicating the Dickinson run, but the cross was amazing. The finish
what about
was
that for a
equally
volley?
Impressive.
Flying side volley.
Look at that. Manel Exposito. The cross from Bale was superb. And runner Ivan Visilic produces a shot at the end of it. Oh! Some strike. He had plenty of room to work into, and then just let one rip. It died right at the last and ends up in the back of the net. Jean-Pierre Bob. Here's a chance for Coombs. Oh, wonderful goal by Chad Coombs. Taken on the chest, pops it over the top of Nelson Saleh Khalifa, and the right foot volley. If you're going to pick a player in Oceania who can hit long range shots with technique, it's Chad Coombs, and he didn't disappoint. A wonder strike. So Fred, it's 2-1 to Auckland City. What have Waitakere got to do to try and get back into this game?
Well, I think they gave a pointer to that at the end of the first half, didn't they? They got more into the game, so to speak, and they showed more threats going forward, and that was purely because they had the ball more, and they made a tactical switch by pushing Ryan de Vries forward. As we look at the goals from the first half, say Danny Robinson doing well on the first one, Adam Dickinson just drilling that ball home. But at this point in time, Auckland City were dominating the game, and that was just reward for them for the way the first 10 or so minutes had panned out. And then when Adam Dickinson set up Fenarides for the long-range strike, the 2-0 was just reward for them. And everything was going swimmingly well for the team in blue. But you can never discount this Waitakere side. And as we talked about during the first half, they pushed Ryan de Vries forward, they pushed Alan Pearce across, and it was Alan Pearce from that left-hand position sets up Roy Krishna, who in turn sets up Chad Coombs for the simplest of tap-ins. Auckland City in vain protesting the offside. But now Waitakere have a lifeline.
Do you see this game producing more goals?
Oh, for sure. I think it'll be interesting to see if Ivan Visilic comes out for the second half as the Waitakere players come out. But I think we are absolutely in for some more goals. And I think there'll be some more. There'll be probably some controversy along the way as well, given what's at stake and the history between these two sides.
From an Auckland City perspective, Fred, what's probably going through Ramon Trebulich's mind as he looks to try and do something that he hasn't done that often, which is close this game out?
Yeah, well, I think you saw what went wrong with Auckland City. Again, at the end of that first half, they got their 2 goals and then they took their foot off the accelerator. They allowed Waitakere to come into the game. For a period of 10 minutes after the second goal, they just passed the ball around at the back at will. And I think that's what they have to do. They have to almost kill the game off by starving Waitakere of possession. And the other thing, I think they need to keep up the intensity. They need to match the intensity that Waitakere are going to bring to the second half, because they'll be chasing goals, and in doing so, they'll be. You would expect them to be leaving themselves a bit open at the back, and it's up to Auckland City really to lift the intensity.
Well, Ivan Visilic is back on the park for Auckland. It was going to take a bulldozer to get him off within the context of this scenario, I'm sure. And we're underway again. Second half of the OFC Champions League final at Mount Smart Stadium, Arena 2. Auckland lead 2-1. Played cleverly by Sam Matthews, going through the legs of Koprasic. Overlapping run by Myers. Tries to pop one through for De Vries. Back with Butler. Scott's made a run on the right. It's with Fenarides.
And straight away you can see the hassle and the harry coming from Waitakere. They know they've got 45 minutes to get themselves to the FIFA Club World Cup, and to do so they're going to have to score at least 1 goal.
Wata, that's not a bad
straight
ball.
away they are going at it, going at this Auckland City side and not allowing them any time on the ball whatsoever.
Myers, James Pritchett now, Koprasic, Dickinson. Heavy first touch, he made the rest of the job difficult for himself. Caneen. Matthews can't lock onto the ball. Back with Visilic. Clips one in for Koprasic. That squirts out to Koprasic again. Riera, Dickinson. Look at this compact defending from Waitakere. No way through for Auckland yet. Myers does well and shepherds that out. Look how compact they were, Fred. 2 banks of 4, we talk about that, and pushed right back onto the edge of the Waitakere 18-yard box and forcing the ball out for a goal kick.
Yeah, good discipline defending that time from Waitakere. Didn't dive in, didn't bite at the ball, just waited for that final pass that had to come at some point.
Ryan De Vries.
I think when it did, they were ready and defended it quite comfortably in the end.
Dickinson. Good run by Koprasic. Can he keep it in? He can. Riera. Played first time to Dickinson. He is the fulcrum for locking possession, and he's lost it here. Bales clipped Alan Pearce. Butler is going to need some help. Scott, the first time ball in, testing Visilic. Pritchett going long. Riera trying something a little bit elaborate, and he's won a free kick. Well, Alan Pearce having a few words to say for himself. Peter O'Leary not entering into dialogue. Dickinson needs to offload this for Auckland. Oh, he's done well here. Pritchett not quite on the same page. Koprasic. And the ball is out. Well, he's playing further forward today, Daniel Koprasic. He has, of course, started his playing career as a striker. Ramon Trebulic preferred him in midfield, but with Gustavo Souto injured for the rest of the season with a broken collarbone, Koprasic has been pushed further forward. If you look back on his goal-scoring records over the season, over the last few seasons, you'll notice that there has been a drop away in goals scored by the 29-year-old. He does believe that the position he plays now, or usually, in midfield is his best one.
He's just setting up as the wide man in a front three for Auckland City. Down the right-hand side, Daniel Koprasic. There's Waitakere. Look to really put the pressure on this Auckland City defence.
Free kick wound in. Tamati Williams should claim that comfortably and does so. Launches a counter-attack through Bale. Dickinson to his left. Riera in midfield. He might bomb this wide on the left, and he does so. That's a good ball for Exposito. Manel Exposito might fancy one here. Not going to trouble Robinson from that distance.
A nice quick counter-attack from Auckland City. Good vision, good throw from Williams, and eventually Esposito with the shot, and this time no trouble for Danny Robinson.
Free kick going Waitakere's way. It looked like a high boot. Well, Chris Palmer stripped and ready for action. Former League 2 player who came into the Waitakere squad specifically for this competition. He's a technician and a craftsman on the ball. He's struggled for fitness though. Coombs with a free kick. Oh, and it's sloppy stuff from Auckland City. Sam Matthews trying to get into a shooting position perhaps. It's with Myers. There's numbers in the box for Waitakere. Can they get the ball in? It's not a bad ball in. Good header, but no, sorry, it wasn't a good header. A good opportunity, though, for... looked like a free header, in fact. Pearce remonstrating with himself.
Yeah, fantastic cross from Tim Myers. Just whipped that ball around. And that was the last action for Alan Pearce. A disappointment written across the face of Alan Pearce as Paul Marshall only waits for 5 minutes in the second half. Chris Palmer comes on, straight switch in position. Alan Pearce had been operating down the left-hand flank for Waitakere. That's where Chris Palmer takes up his position.
Shelley back to Robinson. Oh, it's not the best clearance. Effective enough though. Well played by Butler. Beelan. Oh, and he's only just managed to get something on that, Mario Beelan.
It looked like the ball had squirted past behind him into the path of Krishna, but Beelan eventually cleared comfortably.
Well, this is another good opportunity for Waitakere to perhaps exploit. It's Krishna, the man from Limbasa in Fiji. Twisting and turning in the box, still going. Iwata trying to win the ball off him. They can't. It's tied to his boot by the look of it. And eventually, Auckland City get a reprieve.
Well, one touch too many this time for Krishna. Did well, beat the first man. I thought he'd either shoot or cross at that point. Decided to take an extra touch. And then the swarming defence from Auckland City just smothered any opportunity that he had of creating an opening for himself or for one of his teammates. But you just feel the intensity of the game rising. That substitution as well. The coaches thinking time is ticking away.
Oh, and Exposito's latched onto a mistake. Oh, and he's hit the side netting. Well, it was Waitakere hearts and mouths there for a moment.
Gosh, he's hit this one well, hasn't he? Gets in behind the defence. One thought on his mind. Gets a really good connection. And I'm not sure Danny Robinson would have had that covered had it been going into the goal. That was a terrific shot from a tight angle.
Well, a substitution. This time it's Auckland City. Ramon Trebulic has decided to reshape his front line. Daniel Koprasic is being removed. Former Canterbury United wide man Darren White is being introduced.
Darren White straight into the action. So a big stage for him.
Palmer picking up the ball from Dickinson. Now chance to counter-attack for Waitakere. Krishna plays Coombs, just short of options. Goes back to Shelley. Well, Bale and Coombs going shoulder to shoulder. You wouldn't want to get in between those two players. It's pretty rugged. Pretty rugged stuff.
They're not going to pull out, are they?
No, certainly not. Myers assessing his options. Chooses Sam Matthews now. Shelley. Here he goes punching forward the centre half. A little bit too much on the pass. So 10 minutes of the second half have gone. Waitakere United 1, Auckland City 2. And this match just simmering to a boil. I mean, who remembers the frenetic final few minutes of that ASB Premiership Grand Final where Auckland went 3-2 up in time added on and looked as if they were going to become ASB Premiership champions, only for Roy Krishna to equalise less than 30 seconds later to take the game to extra time.
And that'll be in the back of the minds of the Waitakere players as well. They know they can score against Auckland City. They've done it on a number of occasions. So long as the game stays at 2-1, they're still in with a shout. And Danny Robinson will be very pleased to see that one hit the side netting. This is what Waitakere are doing better though. They're building up through the midfield passages.
Well, trying to go through the legs was perhaps a bit of a gamble by Aaron Scott. Well, they are certainly willing to push an extra defender forward now in hopes of breaking up that Auckland defensive line. Beelan overstepping and letting Krishna past. Williams tidies up for his team though. Canadian comfortable header. That's Coombs in space. Oh, and a chance now for Krishna with a shot. Oh, he's at the side netting like Exposito before him.
Well, there's too much gap. There's too much of a gap between the midfield and the defensive lines for Auckland City at the moment. And Waitakere are picking up positions in the middle of those two lines. You can see this time Roy Krishna shooting from a tight angle. You'd expect the keeper to save it, but still danger signs for Auckland City.
Oh, Darren White taken out by Tim Myers.
And this could be danger for Tim Myers. He's already on a yellow card. Referee goes for a second.
Oh, and he's away. Tim Myers is sent off. In the 58th minute, Darren White's pace took him beyond the three-time All-White. And Waitakere United are down to 10 men. Well, we spoke about this as a possibility, Fred. It's come to fruition.
Well, Tim Myers comes sliding in, just a touch by White, and upended by the defender. And I think Tim Myers, when he looks back at that, will think maybe he should have held his ground, because he was leaving himself in the hands of the referee. And that resulted in a red card, and with his dismissal, will the hopes of Waitakere City head off the field as well?
Well, free kick in a very, very good position for Auckland. It looks as though it's going to go into the far post, perhaps. Fenarides. Oh, chance. Exposito. No, sorry, that was Mario Beelan. Well, it is a game that has swung between these two ASB Premiership giants, these OFC Champions League giants. Now it's all for Waitakere to do. Trailing by a goal. Now at a numerical disadvantage in terms of personnel. Well, Paul Marshall felt that Auckland City were a team that his side had the wood over. He said that the record spoke for itself. And at the moment, his team's hopes hang in the balance.
So a reshuffle for Waitakere. Aaron Scott taking over Tim Myers' place at left back. Chad Coombs dropping back into the right back position.
Well, Exposito was a bit casual with that cross. He just threw himself at it, sorry. But now Waitakere are in trouble because Auckland, not Chris Bale's best work, but Auckland can exploit this extra space. Well, Ivan Visilic is bleeding, and Peter O'Leary is telling the Auckland City skipper he's got to go and get some treatment.
Nice try from Ivan Visilic. Sits on the ground expecting treatment to come onto the pitch. Sorry, that ain't going to work, Ivan. You've got to go off. So obviously Ivan Visilic, late in the first half, there's a gash in the mouth, and that's what's causing him difficulty. So both sides are 10 men at the moment. Have noticed that the back four.
Oh, and there's a problem here. Brian Shelley's been caught out. Dickinson goes to ground.
Just have noticed that the back four for Auckland City are staying very, very deep, and that's allowing a lot of space for Waitakere through the midfield. Even though they are down to 10, they still do have a lot of threats up front.
Well, Chris Bale has dropped into the centre half position as Visilic receives a stitch job here.
So Dickinson dispossessing Waitakere, and then
back with the action. It's Dickinson, perhaps for a chance. Oh, and he's fired it high over the crossbar.
And you've got to think if one of these goes in, it'll be lights out for Waitakere. So it'll be very difficult to come from 2 down as Dickinson drives into the penalty area and just lashes that one wide.
Kineen for Jake Butler, a man who's had an impressive season. He's been a big reason why Waitakere United are in this final. He scored 2 very important goals for the club, and a 1-0 win over AS Dragon and a 1-0 win over Auckland City. And Waitakere need their skipper now. Shelley. Palmer takes it on the chest. Winds across in that Ivan Visilic deals with. Dickinson, not enough purchase on it. Shelley picking up the loose ball. There's that gap in midfield you talked about, Fred, and a free kick. And a card for Manel Exposito.
Yeah, and Esposito just diving in there. Again, he can have no complaints about that. Similar to the Tim Myers one, sliding in, upending the opponent. And this time, it's in a very, well, not a handy position, but potentially dangerous position for Auckland City.
Well, if it's going to be power, it's Coombs. If it's finesse and guile, it'll be Chris Palmer. What's he going to go for? Long range shot, takes a deflection. Dickinson checking his space over the shoulder. He's got Scott for company. Good defending by Aaron Scott. Tight as you like on Dickinson. Chances are sure to come more frequently, you would expect.
You see Paul Marshall there, just trying to encourage his players along. He knows he's got 25 minutes. 5 minutes to stay and get a ticket to the World Club Champs.
It's been 5 years, 5 long years for Waitakere since they last appeared at a FIFA Club World Cup. Spoke to Danny Robinson on Friday, and he said that failure to win today would not mean that the whole season was a write-off. Oh, and Dickinson gets it. Oh, good stop by Robinson, and that could have gone anywhere, Fred. The clearance from Kineen.
Well, Dickinson's done really well to get round the back. Once he'd done that, though, I thought he could have possibly done better here. Too close to the keeper. I think he misdirected that. He was trying to lay it across the 6-yard box, but just got his cross a bit too close to Danny Robinson, and then the final clearance could have ricocheted into the goal. But Waitakere, they're living dangerously at the moment.
Still plenty of time for them to get back into this game. De Vries slaloming through the Auckland team. Here's Coombs. Oh, and a chance for Butler perhaps. Fenarides getting on the end of it. Beelan hacking it clear. Not a convincing clearance. It's still with Waitakere. Well played by Darren White. Scott plays it into Matthews.
Yeah, I think Auckland City have to put a lot more pressure on the ball carrier. They're giving the Waitakere players far too much time on the ball. They have got the extra man. I think they should be the ones who are really forcing the issue and not allowing the Waitakere players to settle in possession.
Well, Auckland potentially asking for trouble by sitting so deep. I think there's a suggestion there, Fred, that you make. And Waitakere United have passed almost every test of character on their way to this final, and the security of those three domestic trophies. Coombs for Butler. Now Krishna gives the ball up, and this is a chance for Darren White. Dickinson for Pritchett. Keeps his run going. Pritchett, he's going to need options. He doesn't have any at the moment. Fenerides arrives late from midfield.
That's
now
good.
Riera.
Good work from Pritchett. No one in the box. Decided not to just hoist it in there. Checked out, keep possession, build up another attack.
Good ball from Riera. Space opening up now. White. He gets a second chance at it and a third, and it's a corner for Auckland. Well, one or two ashen faces amongst the Waitakere players. They're not out of it yet. Auckland City through, and it's a free header effectively. Visilic couldn't get it on target.
He'll be ruined that one, Ivan Visilic. He'd love to score on this game. He found himself with plenty of space. Seen him score a lot of goals in those sort of areas. Very good in the air. And this time, the direction just lacking for him. Scores his fair share of goals from set plays, does Ivan Visilic. Just not on that occasion.
Coombs. Krishna, he's got a bit of space. He loses out to Darren White. Hoisted away by Visilic. Exposito. Free kick for Waitakere. Now, this might be preempting fate here, Fred, but if Waitakere can draw level and the match finishes level after 90 minutes, we'll have 2 periods of 15 minutes of extra time. And then, of course, if the scores are level, at the end of that, it will be a penalty shootout. The scoreline sitting there precariously, inviting that. Let me just posture that one for everybody.
It'll be interesting to see if the lights are up to it here at Mount Smart. Because if it does go to extra time and penalties, it's going to be very dark.
Shelley finds Palmer. He's got Scott on his right shoulder. Coombs now playing further forward, as you might expect. De Vries trying to get through. Oh, and Krishna. Flag's gone up.
Well, that's the danger, isn't it? Straight away we can see there. Lovely ball over the top from Palmer. And Roy Krishna has caught it beautifully on his chest. Spun. And you would have expected him to have scored. Very, very tight decision looking at that. But beautiful control from Krishna. And that's the worry for Auckland City. One ball through the middle like that, and all their hard work can be undone.
Well, I tell you, Fred, the player who perhaps put Auckland in a bit of bother there was the left back, Takuya Iwata. He was a good yard or two behind the other 3 defenders. And as you know, in that situation when the ball's been played in, you need those left and right backs to be vigilant. So let off for Auckland City. Less than 20 minutes of the regulation 90 to play. Ramon Trebulic experiencing every kick of the ball, as I'm sure Paul Marshall, his contemporary, is also experiencing. Intelligent play from Krishna. It just didn't have enough on it, and Tamati Williams claimed it.
Even in that passage of play though, Auckland City had about 8 players back. There were only 2 attackers, but still Waitakere looked dangerous. Auckland City, they're just allowing these Waitakere strikers just that little bit too much room. And down the bottom of your screen you can see Ramon Trebulic saying, guys, just keep the ball, move the ball across the back.
Williams going long. Aaron Scott winning the header. Vislic for Auckland does the same. And Palmer with a high foot. No malice intended, I'm sure.
Just coming in from the wrong side.